Hello and welcome to the second test, the last match of the Kangaroo Tour for 1982. Australia has won the toss, and you will see from the fact that the ball is blown off the mound there that the breeze is very strong. Australia have elected to take the breeze, which is blowing left to right across the screen. France in red, white and blue running right to left. There's the first touch by an Australian. Very cold day here at Narbonne. Very sunny though. Snow all around the place. Just identifying where Narbonne is, it's only about 4 miles from the Mediterranean Ocean. It's about 150 miles west along the French coast from where the first test was played at Avignon. It was chosen because I believe it's central to the main league areas of France, that of Carcassonne, Perpignan, Toulouse and Avignon. The first penalty of the match going to France there for offside. The referee, Mr. Robin Whitfield of Widnes, and a crowd of, I would estimate, only about 5,000 here in attendance. And there's a hell of a free list at these French games. Knock on. And the referee judges that there was no advantage coming to Australia, so a scrum will go down. As repeating again, very cold day, sunny, windy. Australia has the benefit of it in the first half. And I think we'll see some long distance kicking from Brentnell. That first kick he put up just a little while ago was indicative that he's going to use the breeze. Boyd in the front row having a little bit of an altercation there with Max Chantal. And again the scrum, that's against the Australians, presumably for moving off the mark. Yes, Mr. Whitfield very explicit about that. Gresk, a little halfback. And now we're going to have somebody in the Australian team spoken to. He's pointing. And this might be the captain, yes. No, he's called up Craig Young. And Max Krilich is standing behind there. And it was Chantal. And the tap from the restart. French side on the move there. Guy Laford, right on the halfway line. Gresk. A bit of willing effort there. Jacques Cologny, Gresk, Guido, the runaround. Back on the inside to Rustenbroek. He's the captain and lock forward of this French side. Guido. Etienne Kaminski, a new player, one of 4 changes in this French first test side. There's Gresk going for the kick, not much direction to it. The Frenchmen get a boot to it, Gresk, and I think there'll be a penalty there for tripping. Boosted comes up with the ball. The referee talking to Gresk and telling him, well, you needn't lie down because you got your penalty, and he's up and about straight away. So for illegal interference there and tripping. Out of the first test side are Andre Perez, Philip Foucaud, Mark Ambert, a second rower, and Foucaud was a winger. Henri Daniel. 4 changes from the first test side. France, only about 5 yards out now. Akari. Rustenbroek stopped in his tracks. Frenchmen tend to use their feet a little bit in these situations. Just watch them, they're a little bit careless with their feet, shall we say. Cologny, Gresk, Guido. Going for a drop. Brentnell has it just near the dead ball line, gets into the field of play, and it's a good bustling run, 8 yards. Rogers there at dummy half, sporting a beard. Penalty against France. Penalties at the moment are 3-1 in France's favour. Full French side. Jacques Gouy, Patrick Solal, Christian Lamont, Guy Delaney, Etienne Kaminski. They're the 3 quarters. The halves are Hervé Guiraud and Ivan Gresk. And the forwards, prop Max Chantal, hooker Christian Makali, Carlos Zaluendo, who's the oldest player or most experienced with 22 tests in this French side, Guy Laford, and Jean-Jacques Cologny, who's supposed to be one of the wild men of French rugby league, who was out for life last year, so life only lasts about half a season in France. And Jor Rustenbroek, who's the captain. The Australian side, Greg Brentnell, Kerry Bowstead, Mal Meninga, Steve Rogers, Eric Groth, Brett Kenny, Peter Sterling, Craig Young, Max Krilich, Les Boyd, Rod Reddy, Paul McCabe, Wayne Pearce. Mr. Whitfield, the same referee who had the first test match against France, won by Australia 15-4. Sterling to feed. Notice everyone rugged up with hands in pockets there, very chilly. There's the scrum win to Australia. Brentnell. Pearce leaves the ball behind. Reddy's going to fall on it. Gets some knees there from Patrick Solal and resents them, giving Solal a bit of a workout there. Rogers. And a steadying influence on the young Kangaroo three-quarter line on this tour. Beautiful pass there onto Pearce. He split them right up the middle. The young champion, Balmain, right forward. Finds Meninga on the inside. It's going to be a try to Meninga. And he's in. Beautiful work there. As you'll see again on the replay by young Wayne Pearce. The nice pass from Krilich sends him through the gap, finds Meninga waiting on the inside. Meninga, very difficult man to tackle, goes over wide out, gives himself a kick of a fairly acute angle, but a great try. Congratulations all round now as the Australians strike early. I think you'll notice that the strength of the breeze is such that the kickers will be assisted by somebody to hold the ball in some instances, because the ball is blown around all over the place here. Snow all around the district. There's the indication of the breeze, the referee blowing his nose there on his hanky, and the hanky really fluttering around dramatically. Oh, Meninga, there it is, the ball's rolled off the mound again. You see here the wind effects in our microphone. And you can see those two flags in the background just stressing the point. He's not having any luck at all, so they've rugby union style. They're going to call up a player to assist. And it's Rocket Reddy on this occasion. The crowd, as I've told you before, in France frequently whistle their displeasure, and their displeasure at the moment is over the inordinate long time it's taken to get this kick done. Here's Meninga off a very short run, punches it away to the left. The wind brings it back, but nowhere near far enough, so the score remains Australia 3, France 0. Australian lads naturally very determined that this game will be a win, to keep an extraordinary successful record of 21 games so far without loss. This will make 22, and no other Kangaroo side has ever done that. I won't be drawn into any controversy about which is the best Kangaroo side to go away. I will say, without fear of contradiction, that this is the fittest Kangaroo side that I've ever seen, the fittest Australian side I've ever seen. I also say that probably they could have picked two teams out of this that would have won the Test series. I also say that the opposition in England was as bad as anything I've ever seen from England. The standard is terribly low. Boyd, who's fitted into that front row job so well. I don't think he's wrapped in the position, but he's played so well since coming in. And there's in my view, the champion of the tour, Craig Young, who's played, perhaps because I'm an old front row forward myself, I watch them closely. This bloke's as good a front rowers going around as we've had in 25, 30 years of football. All-rounder. He just blocks up the centre of that ruck. And his ball skills are such that he frequently sets tries up. Guiraud, he's the 5'8". His handling gets a little bit suspect under pressure at times. Scrum about 5 yards outside the French quarter. Aggressive to feed with a not with a downward motion. Australian ball. Kenny had to come in from the 5'8" spot. Sterling. Brentnell. Frenchmen tackle a lot better than the English side did. A lot more vigour. Sterling. Boyd. Two of them. I haven't seen a whole lot of Guy Delaunay, the centre, number 4. He's not what you'd call a workaholic on the football field. Pillage. Sterling. Kenny. Then on to Brentnell. Pillage, who's lived in that dummy half roll, and that was against the Frenchman. Inside the 5. So Meninga now, shall he select somebody to come up and hold the ball for him? Mr. Whitfield, the referee, does a hell of a lot of talking on the field to players. When the play's stopped, he frequently calls somebody over to have a chat. He's doing that now to one of the Frenchmen. I wonder if Meninga will have any better luck with the ball on the mound on this occasion. Well, there it goes again. Craig Young walks over, but I think the skipper, Max Krilic, is going to hold it. For those of you with a sailing bent, this breeze would be, if you're on Sydney Harbour, a beautiful about 23 or 4 knot breeze to sail to. And I don't blame the French crowd for getting a bit incensed at this. It's obvious that the ball won't stay on the mound without assistance, and it should be held every time. Meninga comes off a very short run. It's only 2 and a bit paces on his way in. Bonk. Over she goes, and up go the flags, and Australia move away to a 5 points to 0 lead. I mentioned the veteran of the French side is Carlos Zaloendo. He's played 22 tests, comes from Villeneuve. He was born in Spain of a Basque family. He's 30 years old. He's a vice squad detective in Toulouse. His real name is Carlos, which, as you know, is a Spanish name, but the French call him Charles. He toured Australia last year in 1981. Actually, it's a whole Villeneuve front row. And Villeneuve are one of the 2 top clubs in the French Rugby League. Sterling to feed. And that's an incorrect feed against Sterling. Penalty tally at the moment 4-2 in favour of France. Gresk, the halfback. He toured Australia in 81 or 80. 81. Guiraud back on the inside there to Makali. Zaloendo a dummy half. No way through there. Boyd and Craig Young lock it up tight in close, as good props should. Guiraud wrapped up smartly by Kenny, who's so quick. Sprints back to position. Jean-Jacques Cologne. Gresk. And it's a penalty. Australia inside the 5. The referee trots across field. Gress feints to take the quick tap, but it'll be a kick at goal, and Etienne Kaminski, playing on the left wing, will come over. He's number 5 there. Certainly cold enough to snow. Beautiful playing field over behind the main stand there. Giant rugby complex. About a month ago in Toulouse, which isn't all that far away from here, they only drew 4,000 people for the rugby union test between France and Argentina. So crowds are down generally in that area for union and league. As Kaminski comes in, the crowd let you know that the French are on the board. So the score then: Australia 5, France 2.
Hey, Master 323, you sure have.
Patrick Sorrell gets a cheer for being a hurdler. Jumps through one tackle. Reddy's there. And there's that Craig Young drive. Just watch it almost every time. Young's in there to assist somewhere around the ruck with a tackle. There he is again. He's like the Black Plague. They just can't get away from him in close. There's the ball gone loose. One of the Frenchmen having a little bit of a look, watching the opposition, Craig Young. There's Pearce. Crowd going, ooh. He's a strong young fella. And Krilic, Sterling, Craig Young. Bad pass, but beautifully half-volleyed. Bretnell, Growth hit hard. Very good tackle. Knocked him over the sideline. And that was Max Chantal, who I've already mentioned is probably the most consistent of the French players. Very vigorous front rower. On the French quarter. Yvan Gresk. Bit of a flurry there. It looked as though Boyd might have been involved with the man we were talking about, Chantal. Reddy's there. Referee will have to sort them out. It appears as though he's pointing to Australia to go back. Hasn't awarded a penalty. Hasn't done anything at this point in time. It looked to me as though he's going to discuss it with a touch judge. But there's been a remark passed, and I think that was Craig Young saying to one of the Frenchmen, I don't know whether he's learnt any French, but any more of that and I'll get you. Touch judge indicated there was a punch throw, and the penalty is going to France. Craig Young being penalised. Restraining hand from Krilic on his arm. Krilic having a heart-to-heart. Punch gone in on that one. Penalties 5-2 in favour of France. Restart about 10 yards from halfway. Jim McCulley to his feet. Gresk, who goes for the dummy half position a lot. Giddo. No big pardons there as Zaluendo gets knocked down. They're a bit monotonous, France. Even on the early stages you can see their pattern and they don't deviate from it. An occasional kick from Gresk, but it goes out, and then back on the inside. Zaluendo driven backwards. Krilic indicating that he didn't like the use of a knee there, but the referee appeared to be penalising Australia for talking there. Just kicking for touch. That's the halfway line. Ground also used for soccer and I believe hockey. Giro. On the halfway line. Bit of vigour in that tackle there from Reddy and McCabe. Rustenbrook, Gresk, Giro. And they get back on the inside. They're leaving themselves wide open to this enveloping Kangaroo defence. Giro. Zelawendo. McCabe the tackle. Gresk, Giro. There it is, back on the inside again. Rustenbrook. Then on to Giro. Giro away to Laforgue. Laforgue belted to the ground by a magnificent tackle from Bretnell. And there's Craig Young having a slight altercation with Jacques Cologny. And that pass went forward, and what a tackle from Bretnell. Absolutely smothered him. I don't think it did him a whole lot of good either. About 13 metres out from the Australian line. Australian ball, Sterling falls on it. Pearce at dummy half. (5-2) the score. Australia leads. One try to Meninga and a goal to the man. And Kaminski, a penalty goal for France. Reddy stands up on the tackle. Unloads nicely. Object lesson to a lot of players, the way you can repeatedly get the ball away. Krilic going for a sprint. Meninga up to halfway. Krilic, Craig Young, Sterling, Kenny, round his man beautifully, unloads it to Growth. Growth hard up the sideline, carrying the ball in the wrong arm, gets tackled nicely there. Good defence. Sterling, unable to get a pass away. And that's the 6. Flourishing of three-quarter work there from Australia, having made an inroad up the right-hand side of the field. Quick hands out to the left with Knight. Nice footwork from Kenny, getting Growth away. But good French defence, plenty of cover there. 5-2, Australia lead. A bit of a flurry there. Boyd coming away and dragged backwards by Pearce. There's feet across by Krilic. That's 6-2 the penalties. Jean-Jacques Cologny, who's playing in number 12 in the second row, a new player in this match, played his first test for France way back in '73 against Australia, which was also Mick Cronin's first test for Australia, I believe. Bogley was the wild man in French Rugby League for a long while. I mentioned earlier that he was banned for life for kicking and punching just last year, so it's repetitious, but I'll say it. Life doesn't mean a whole lot in terms of a penalty in the French Rugby League. Craig Young sewing up the middle of that ruck. McCauley. Reddy having a snipe at the ball there. Giro back into Chantal. Reddy's got hold of a handful of hair there, but the referee missed that. Rustenbrook, Gresk, Girard, Cologny. Just nowhere to go. He could do a little bit of kicking. The ball would hold up into the breeze. They're running into the breeze, the French side. Little chip punt through. Might give them the opportunity to run onto it. It's come about 10 yards into France's half. Gresk to feed. The referee having a hell of a time with these scrums. Got to get the halfback up there beside the scrum straight away and get it put in. He's contributing to it. Well, you know, now we've had about 45 seconds of pushing and shoving for nothing, and then he awards a penalty. Is that good, referee? Rugby league spectators around the world need better than that. Professional game. Now a little bit of a chat going on with Krilic and the referee and Gresk. Well, now another penalty being awarded. He keeps mentioning the holding his fingers up to his mouth and tapping them. Incidentally, Krilic is the captain of the side, and he is allowed to talk to the referee, as long as his tone of voice is correct. The penalty's obviously gone for back chatting. 8-2 the penalties, France's way. 5-2 the score, Australia's way. Kaminski. He's about 23 metres out and 10 metres in from the sideline. It's a miserable kick. Australia going to come up with it through Sterling. About 8 yards out from their line. Meninga. They come pouring in to tackle Meninga. It took 4 of them there. Pearce. Sterling. Krilic. Kenny. Rogers, the ball knocked out of Rogers' hands by Salah. Picked up by Gresk. It's a try to France. The pass from Kenny was not a good one, as you'll see. It went slightly behind Rogers. The tackle of Salah, the winger, came in and jolted the ball out of Rogers' hand on the replay, straight to Gresk, who's congratulated by all and sundry, and he's in underneath the posts. So France now on level terms with Australia. And they can hit the front if Kaminski's kick is successful. Well, that's given the Kangaroos something to think about. I would have thought they'd be expecting to be substantially in front with such a strong breeze. They realise they've got to run into this breeze in the second half. And, of course, an 8-2 penalty count at this stage against them doesn't help. Stops their flow. Kaminski stabs that successfully. So France have hit the front. And they lead by 7 points to 5. And the band plays on. Very much a bugle band. Rogers gets it away, drives it deep. Fullback Gui. I'm sorry, that was Solar, the winger. And they go back to their normal practice of running it wide and turning the ball back on the inside. Laforgue, Giro. There's Kaminski, come from the left wing. Giro. There's a solid knock by Boyd, and Boyd comes back at him again and drives him back another 5 yards. Zaloendo knowing he's been tackled. Gresk. Cogni. Ready the tackle, gives him a smack across the face. They both had a bit of a snipe at each other, but it's gone for the penalty. Hardly worth a penalty. They each smacked each other across the face. So there it was. 9-2 the penalties. France's way. And they lead by 7 points to 5. Halfway line will be close to the area for restart. Guy Laforgue, Grisk, Guido, McCabe there with Kenny, Grisk. Guy Delaunay, the centre. I haven't cited him very much. He's not what you call a workaholic. Guido, a little stab punt, low trajectory. Brentnell fields it nicely. Cheeks puffed out. Brings it back to the quarter. Good solid defence there as Ruslanbrook and Chantal, that man Chantal, who comes up with some very good solid knocks. Growth. Zalawendo clinging grimly to him. There's a penalty against France for inside as Boyd comes up and shows his annoyance at having somebody in front of him. 9-3 the penalties, France. 7-5 the score. France leading. Rogers. It's a towering punt, wind assisted. And play now only about 12 metres out from the French line. There's Les Boyd. Straight away around the legs, they work Boyd out. One low and one high. Krilic, Pearce, way to Reddy. Reddy gets a pass inside, it's knocked back into the in goal by a Frenchman, and the try has been allowed. The crowd aren't going to like that, but I think you'll see that the pass was knocked back by Chantal, number 8. And Growth is able to follow on and score the try. So that is one out of the blue to Australia. It didn't look to be a try on. Reddy's pass swirled back in the inside, one-handed, knocked back into the end goal by a Frenchman. No knock-on by Australia, ruled the referee, and Growth scores for Australia. That makes it 8 points to 7 at the moment. Well, we've got a new ball holder. We've had Reddy, we've had Krilic, and now we've got the veteran of the Australian three-quarter line, Steve Rogers. Going to hold it for Meninga. See the way the Australians are rugged up underneath blankets there on the sideline. And Meninga from wide out, kicking across the breeze. He should be aiming to the right, and it'll take it well away to the left-hand side. And that was successful. Unenthusiastic approach by the crowd there, confused you a little bit, but that makes it Australia 10, France 7. France come back to halfway as the band plays a little bit forlornly in the background. Something different tried. Sterling falls on it. Very clever player, this lad. McCabe, who's come on well on the tour. And well tackled. Chantal being the man. Krilic, dummy. Ready. Sterling. Craig Young. Pearce. Always ready to come on the burst. Krilic. McCabe right on the halfway line. Kangaroos making a little bit of heavy weather of this game. They haven't got their free flow. Wind not making that easy, nor is the penalty count of 9-3 against them. Bretnell, pass knocked down. Be 6 to go, as Bosted has it. Etienne Kaminski, one of the tacklers with Guy Laffould. Bretnell, Sterling, Pearce. Robin Whitfield taps both the Frenchmen to tell him to let go. Sterling. On those little sidestepping runs he's become quite famous for on this tour. Bilic, Craig Young. Ready. Yards into France's half. There's Boyd. Nice pass out to Rogers. Rogers gets around his man and hit hard. And unseats him over the sideline. That was a good shoulder check. It was done by Jean-Jacques Cologne. On the French quarter line. 10-7, Australia lead. Looking for this undefeated record on their tour of England and France. Last match of the tour. Scrum win to France. 4-2 the scrum is France's favourite at this stage. Rusenbrook. A wholehearted player. A lock forward and captain. There's this monotonous regularity. They turn the ball back inside and there's just no way through Craig Young and well, there's Pearce tackling Gresk on suspicion. He thought he had the ball. Gresk. Crowd cheering a small break. Giro. And that's the 6. Guy Delaunay, the centre, I think has handled the ball 3 times in the first half. Number 4. Rusenbrook to Gresk. Then away to go. It's picked up and dumped by Kenny, legitimately. Sterling comes away with a nice tackle on Lemont, the other centre. Gresk quickly goes to ground when the defence gets too tight. Oh dear, he wasn't looking at the ball then. A little bit of a kick, Gresk claims he and Craig Young. A small altercation, a penalty. And something's been said and he's walking him. Another 10 yards. And another 10 yards. Well, of course, that looks dramatic, but it's totally illegal. The referee's got no power to do that. One of the weaknesses of the international game when referees can take the law into their own hands. Chantal getting the pass from Rusenbrook. Knocked to the ground by Meninga. Lemont. Giro. Panic stations whenever France get into the quarter with the ball. They invariably get loose in their passing. Giro. Zeluendo. Pearson ready, the tacklers. Gresk. Rusenbrook. It's a good break. Pass touched in flight by an Australian. Kenny picks it up and is going to be ruled offside, and I think he was right in that. We won't see a replay on that, but I think, take my word, it was touched in flight, I think perhaps by one of the Australian forwards, and Kenny, who was in an offside position, came up with the ball, giving Kaminski the opportunity to diminish that 10-7 scoreline Australia's way. Incidentally, there are 28 Australians playing football in France at the moment. Some of the bigger names are Taz Batiri and Andrew Farrer from Canterbury, and young Paul Mears and Brett Scott from Parramatta, who've both played some first grade. Mears is a 19-year-old big prop forward who Jack Gibson managed to get over there. And another is Kerry Hemsley from Balmain. He's playing for Le Pontet Club, the same as Kaminski, the test winger and the goal kicker you see at the moment. But 28 Australians playing in France at the moment. Unsuccessful, that's a let-off for Australia. And the band breaks into a furious fanfare. For what reason, I'm not aware. I think somebody must have told them that the goal had been kicked. It hasn't, and the score remains as it was. Australia 10, France 7. France had scored a try. The fullback, Jacques Gouy. And that is half-time, and at the half-time break, Australia lead by 10 points to 7. Quickly the scorers, Mal Meninga a try and Eric Groth a try. Meninga 2 goals. For the French side, Greska try and Etienne Kaminski a goal and a penalty goal. 10-7 Australia. We'll be back in just a moment with the action of the second half of this second test. Half-time. Australia running from right to left have got a lead of 10 points to 7. French crowds are up about 20% this year on last year, probably due to the attraction the Australians have been. They've had some massive 60-point wins over here and played some dramatically good football. And perhaps the fact that so many young Australians are playing and Ron Willie's been over here coaching, all those things are factors in why the crowds may be up. But not a massive crowd here. There's always a very big free list too at French games. Half this crowd probably won't have paid. No changes on either side. Guy Lafourgue, the big second row, very well built lad, got a bit of pace, runs blindly though, so if he's got blinkers on, doesn't look for support. Too many forwards in this era, not in Australia's team. Oh, well taken, Groth. It's round his man, and using that enormous strength of his, stays in field. If there's a better winger in the world, do show him to me. Meninga. Krilic, who must be over the moon at the way the side's gone, because Max was under some criticism as captain of this side. I always believed he should be in the team, and as captain. Allowing originally for my disappointment with the way Steve Rogers was handled after captaining the Australian team the previous year. This is also one of the very strong performers, this Rocket Ready. Dummies. It's a pass away to Meninga, who can't handle it. That's an uncharacteristic error. A little bit of bad handling there by France. Still, Salal comes up with it. Guy Delaunay, the centre. Boyd steals it. Away to Pearce. Pearce going crossfield. Here's it away. Rogers at the blind side to McCabe. Referee goes for this tapping on the bottom and saying, get off, get off, get off. Kenny, Sterling, Craig Young, Sterling. Krilic. Ready. A dummy around with Krilic. Dummies. More dummies. More dummies. Full stretch try. He sold more dummies than in a maternity ward. Bless my soul. Rocket Ready. I've just given him the big accolade there for being one of the success stories of the tour, and he pulls out a magnificent try. See it again. A solo effort. The dummy around with Krilic. Krilic came round him. He elected not to give him the ball. Dummied, went forward, used the big fend, and then the full stretch. Carried himself, in effect, about 22 yards to score that try. Not straight up, going diagonally. Out of the blue, and a good one. Not cold there, are you, Wally Lewis? He looks like a First World War aviator. Meninga. as that score slips away to 13 points to 7. As far as it can be said, this is a simple kick, but the breeze is still blowing strongly from left to right and cold. Rogers holding the ball for Meninga. Belts that over, and the score hastens on then. Australia 15, France 7. Not one of the greatest performances by this Kangaroo side, but certainly on their way to a good win at this stage. If they can just not concede quite so many penalties, that's taken the glow off their effort in the first half a little bit. Unable to sustain any pressure with so many penalties, 9-3 against them. McCabe. It's a credit to the whole team. Pilic as the captain for keeping their enthusiasm going right to the end, and of course the work done by Frank Stanton. Les Boyd didn't appear to touch that with his foot. Still makes a bullocking 15 yards. Pilic. Sterling. This change of direction with Craig Young and McCabe combining up the blind side. Into the French half. Sterling. Pearce. Loses the ball, had it in both hands. Lost it. And shakes his head. Pearce, I don't think he likes to make the odd mistake. It's a very good attitude to have. Be a perfectionist. Ready with a very hard tackle, and Sterling steals the ball as Carlos Zalawendo loses it. That was a pretty effective tackle. The crowd don't like it. A lot of whistling and yelling. McCabe to Pilic. He's lost it. And seem to have lost picture there for the moment. Just some electronic problem there momentarily, a power surge, but Pilic unable to handle that. That too was an uncharacteristic error. He's normally the safest of handlers. It's the French captain Rusenbrook holding up the play at the moment. Too close to where the scrum was to go down. He's okay. Referee and Gresk, even Gresk, walk around straight through the scrum. Rusenbrook playing to the crowd there. I played some of my best football too after the whistle had gone. Always looked good. It's an incorrect feed. Penalty against Gresk. Brentnell comes trotting up, kicking into and across the breeze. Mighty effective kick though, all the same. Pilic. Oh, Boyd coming like a runaway train. Great tackle there too by McCulley. Pearce turned it back inside nicely to Sterling. Shuddering halt. France tackling very well. Craig Young. Bosted. 3 times the French have withstood the charge. Ready. That great big long leg. Pearce. Back to Sterling. Sterling out to Kenny. Kenny steps nicely, going forward, strong and beautifully tackled by Chantal, a top tackle by the prop, who would get my rap as the best player on this French side. Craig Young, Sterling, beautiful quick hands onto Kenny, out to Reddy, that pass looked forward to Gross, but it's going to be allowed, is it? The referee says yes, it's a try. He may have been slightly unsighted, see it again. I'm not suggesting I'm in the perfect angle either, but it looked curiously forward. The one from Reddy out to Growth as he had to reach for the ball. Nice quick hands from Sterling in that movement too, and the break by Kenny, of course. But nonetheless, the score now 18-7. One would think the Australians only have to go through the motions. Well, this will have been, if they do it, 22 matches. One up to the start of this game, they'd scored 691 points. 4, only 85 against. About 163 tries. Meninga kicks. Ball going sailing away to the right. 18 points to 7, Australia.
Hey, Master 323, you sure have proved a lot to me.
First dead. Kulich caught by Gresk. Sterling. Craig Young. Boyd, who's more of a front rower's physique than a second rower, but I don't think there's too many arguments about the fact that he'd prefer to play in the second row. And Rogers has left that alone. It wasn't a great pass to him, but one you would have thought he would have taken. Pretty voluble French spectators in the background. Incorrect feed against Sterling. Penalty. It's 11-4, the penalty tally. France's favour, Gresk. The band here I can't work out. They play for no apparent reason. Zadawendo showing plenty of vigour. Makali calling to his men. There's Chantal. That's the Australian line, only about, 7 yards away. Makali swings it away. Rusenbrook. Plenty of defence there, though, with Craig Young and Kulich. Just a complete lack of variation. And Australia comes up with the ball, and it's going to be a penalty for stealing the ball. Penalty for stealing the ball. So Kaminsky will be called in. Well, the spelling of Kaminsky's name, K-A-M-I-N-S-K-I, could make him Polish or Russian. Polish or Russian origin, that is. This is not a difficult kick. And unsuccessful. Really still affecting the ball. It gets up high, and Kaminsky doesn't appear to have the ability to stab it and keep it low. Still Australia 18, France 7. Gui, fullback. Ready to tackle. Giro. Kolokny. Giro, that pass on the inside there looked a mite forward, but the forwards allowed to find progress. Rusenbrook didn't appear to want that. He's heavily backslammed by Reddy. Legitimately and heavily, and he's taking a bit of time. That was a pretty solid knock. His head must have hit the ground too, I think. The referee realises it. It was a very solid bit of action. Perhaps we can see that again. Reddy in there quite legitimately, putting the man to the ground and slammed him down hard, and I believe his head hit the ground in that incident. That's Chantal there, just walking out of our picture from right to left, number 8. He'd be a success story, I think, in most football teams around the world. He's a goer. Got a high work rate, obviously enjoys his football. Pretty vigorous lad too. And Chantal has played 14 tests. He's from the Villeneuve club. Rustenbrook to his feet. And okay. Boyd having a wrestling match with Makali. Chris. Giro. Zalawendo. And that's the 6. Not an inspiring game from either side in terms of entertainment, but the wind, the coldness of the day and the high penalty count wouldn't help. It's a bad bit of football there. Play on, says the referee, as France lose possession so easily. Meninga comes up with it. Krilic. Boyd runs into the back of a Frenchman who was running back onside. Krilic. Craig Young. McCabe goes for a sprint. Chantal around his legs. Krilic. Ready. The tracks. Chantal getting him. Oh, that was the 6, and Ready says, all right, okay, the 6. I think Chantal was wishing Ready a happy Christmas there. He had him in what used to be termed when I played, the Christmas hole. Feet across. West kick takes the opportunity to get a decent game there of about 23 metres with the strong breeze. Brisk. Cologne. Still monotonous with their lack of variation. Not lack of enthusiasm, just lack of variation. Guillermo tears his way through, but always runs as if he's got blinkers on. Brisk. McCauley. All one out running. Giro. Gigo. Rustenbrook. Up the sideline. Pass back inside. Touched. Picked up by Irv Giro. Tackled over the touchline there by Bostad, and the referee calling that as a knock-on. I didn't think that was. I thought it came off an Australian player. I think the referee, Mr. Robin Whitfield, erred, but no try was going to come from it. Bostad saw to that. Bright flash from the French side. Sterling in there and Boyd in the background, standing ominously over a fallen foe. Here's tackle Lamont. Giro. Cologne. Waving to the Australians to get them back. 18-7 the score in Australia's favour. Rustenbrook back on the inside to Guy Delaunay. Guido belted to the ground, picked up by Bostad, the ball lost. Good tackle there by Gritz. Rogers pats him on the backside and says, come on, do it quick. Gritz. No shirking when the hard work needs to be done. Sterling. Good little dummy run, sidestepping. And they made 20 yards very easily there. Ready? Loses the ball. Australia come up with it again. No, Rosenbrook has it. France moving it out wide now. Christian Lemore, the centre. Delaunay. Guido. Bologna. Rest. They just haven't worked out a method of getting through this Kangaroo defence. As you can see, it's not the easiest job in the world in trying to do it. I would have thought a little bit more kicking. The pass looked a little bit forward. But takes my advice. Braxton Brendel brings it back with a good game. Kick was ill directed, not much help getting to it. But a kick for possession. Kogia. Sterling. Rogers. Sterling. Kogia. Okay. Drops the ball, picks it up again, didn't knock it forward. With his dummy half. Sterling. Kenny. It's Chantal, our friend in the high work rate. Sterling, Grace. The Grace is doing pounding motion. Phillips. Pearce tearing his way through. Pass along the ground, will come up with it will be Zaluendo. Gila forward. I don't think there's been one occasion in this man that's run and died with the ball. He's only played 4 tests, he's from the couple of hands above and he's big and he's beautiful. He's about McCabe's size, even on the tour. Got a bit of pace, no obvious football skill at this time. Dives with the ball all the time. Delaunay, centre. Kick by Garreau. The crowd always love the kick in French football. They respond to it. Brendel has it. And none of the Frenchmen have followed up. He's able to get a pass away with the greatest of ease to Bostad, and back to the quarter they come. That really is, that was bad. That's uncharacteristic of the way this French side have been playing. Ready. No answer to Ready, who plays only just within the law and everything he does, particularly in the tackle. Well, no answer to him, and he's been a marvellous success on this tour. Still. I think it's been a bit quiet. There's Ready again involved. Good defence there. Patrick Furman. Sterling. The run around attempted, the dummy around, Pearce. Gulich, dummying, Kenny, and that's the 6. Gulich, I think, clapped his hand a little bit of frustration there at the side not being able to string together a little bit more sustained pressure. The French tackling has been quite good. The referee's going to want that again. But the Australian side, Kenny, away to Bostad, steps back on the inside. He's got the French tackler got up around his shoulders. He straightened and stood him up. Rutherford. Getting a bit of strong treatment. That's right on the halfway line. Sterling. Ready. Chantal. Not averse to giving him a facelift as he did there. Lloyd swings under one tackle. Way to Brentnell. Pillage. Pearce. Last tackle. McCabe, a dummy half. Sterling. Ready. And that's the 6. And you've got to take your hat off to this French forward pack particularly. They're prepared to commit themselves to a very high work rate. And they get through a lot of tackling. McCarley pops his head up out of the scrum. He and Chantal are too loose. He's got a loose arm there too. Let's have it again. It was a very lonely time for a hooker when he falls on the ground in a scrum and the rest of people are upright. It's a lonely feeling. Replacement player coming on there. I'll get the replaced player in just a few moments. Brisk. Rissenbrook belted to the ground there by Pearce. It's all one-out stuff though, isn't it? It's the winger Solal who can tackle a bit. Pillage not wanting to get involved with him. Going to get on with playing football. Oh, intercept. Kenny has taken it. And it's a brilliant sprint. Giddo through the pass. And Garay may have hurt himself there. He came in hard against the upright. Seems to be okay. Let's just see the action again. The Frenchman trying to move the ball wide. Garreau threw the ball and Kenny juggled it. Enormous acceleration and sprinted away. Gerard followed him, chased him hard, but wasn't able to get there. So that's a good try to the Australian side, moving their score on to 21 points and France 7. Five tries to the Australian side. Mal Meninga scored the first, Eric Grothe the second, Rod Reddy the third, Eric Grothe the fourth, and now Brett Kenny the fifth. And there's a successful conversion, moving Australia's score along to 23-7.
Hey, Master 323, you sure have proved that.
It's been an extraordinary tour. It's extraordinarily successful. And amazingly, there's been no clicks or dramas in the Australian contingent, which is extraordinary on such a tour, although these tours these days aren't anywhere near as long as they used to be. But nonetheless, it's a long while for players of different clubs and so forth to be away. Brentnell can't handle that, but Bowstead can. Totally dedicated to winning, and certainly this result will never be beaten. 22 games, 22 wins. this point they've scored, if my mathematics are correct, 714 points. Against Craig Young for using a knee there. Referee quite adamant about it. As Kaminsky comes over to kick for touch. Usurping Resk's job. He's been doing most of the kicking. Australians on their line, and they hate conceding tries. They are misers as far as tries are concerned for the opposition. Only 9 tries conceded on the whole tour against them in 22 games. That's an extraordinary result. And they'll be just as miserly in this situation. If France score a try here, they will earn it. McCarthy. Yes. That's run-out stuff. They're not going to break the defence that way. A little bit of hair pulling there by Reddy. McCabe the tackler. McCarley runs around in circles. That's it away to Laforgue. Laforgue onto the replacement there. Number 15, Manuel Caravaca. He's a big thumping boy. McCarley. Being stolen. Australia had it. Pearce was one of those dedicated runs of his. Laughing his head off there in that tackle. Sterling, nice step. Australia have this ability to make ground, even though France are tackling well. Those 2 play the balls brought them up about 19 or 20 yards. Again, good strong defence by the replacement, Manuel Caravaca. Pillage. Last tackle coming up now, Boyd at dummy half. And that's the... Caravaca is on for Jean-Jacques Cologne, so 15 on 12. Pass back on the inside. Resk. And it goes astray. Nicely half-volleyed there by Brentwell. Fortuitous, really. Guy Delaunay, the centre, got his foot to it, and it bounced up very nicely for Brentwell. Meningo, who's had one of his least involved games on the tour, although he scored the first try. Pillage. Pearce. Sterling. That's the forwards work. Whenever the forwards require a little bit of a spell, he's always there. A solid but unspectacular performance by the Kangas. And unexpectedly honest opposition from France. Sterling's pass was a bit of a horror there. Went straight over the sideline. Grove couldn't handle it. I think Sterling said something to her at Grove there too. The breeze still playing a few tricks. Resk didn't retire at all then. He just followed the ball through the scrum, and that should have been a penalty. Pearce. Kenny. Nicely tackled. Right round the boots there was Giddo. 10 yards into Australia's half. Ready? Lemond there. And Caravaca learns that Reddy likes to be released quickly. Craig Young. Sterling. Kenny. Rogers, good acceleration. Rissenbrook the tackle. And again the band chimes in for no apparent reason. Meninga loses the ball. Trying to get a pass to Critch. Appear to have his mind totally on the job today. (23 to 9 to 9 is the score at the moment. France all on a bunch, just kicking for no good reason and out in the full. Kangaroos, I think, going through the motions at the moment. They'll be very happy to hear the bell go. The referee blow no side. And if you can explain to me why the band is playing so frantically, I'll be very obliged. Girard. Another replacement on there, and Michel Laville. He's playing a number 14. Must be to inspire the Prince team, I think. Referee Whitfield having a terrible day with the scrums. They've been messy and he doesn't help by constantly getting in the way there. Replacement Michel Laville. Gila Ford. Craig Young being penalised for knees there. Gila Ford. 11. Second row. It's a good one. That gets by inside as well as good. And the France come back to the trunk. Terrible pass. The ball picked up by Delaunay. And I think a player's been decked in back play. And I think Craig Young has been sent off. That may be a sin bin. But at the moment we've got the Frenchman down. I'm sure our cameras didn't capture that. It happened in the back play. The player is McCulley, the hooker. He seemed to be standing there minding his own business, and Craig Young suddenly unleashed one on him. I didn't see it, but he's been sent from the field. It could be 10 minutes of the sin bin. Some of the referee's signals aren't very familiar to me, and I believe it might have been a sin bin. There might have been some retaliatory business there that the referee saw. The ball was well away from the area where the incident occurred. Anyway, Australia now with 12 men. And if ever France had an opportunity, they've got it now with play only about 15 yards out from the Kangas line. Fisk. Zelawenda. Grisk. Passing from dummy half is not all that it should be. Chantal getting a bit of a workout, pushing against Reddy. Take a quick tap. moment. Phillips is being called up. Sterling being pushed away. And that's 3 very quick penalties, or 4 penalties in the space of about 70 seconds to the front side. Referee Whitfield telling the Australians to go back and require 10 yards. Kaminsky. Explosions in the background there, startled everyone. McCabe had a shocked look on his face. He's got 11 yards up, about 20 yards off centre. And the law proclaims that it was successful. So that lifts the French total up. Australia now 23, France 9. Excuse me, I may have said 9 before. It was 7, and that goal makes it 9. Now, let me just go through a few details. The Australian side, I think I'm right in saying that's the highest score they've had scored against them in a test. Yes, they beat New Guinea 38-2, England 40-4, 27-6 in the second, 32-8 in the third. First test against France 15-4, and this one 23-9. The try scorers: Mal Meninga a try, Eric Grothe 2 tries, Brett Kenny a try, Rod Reddy a try, Meninga 3 goals, and for the French side, the 1 try to Gresk and the penalty goals to Etienne Kaminsky. Australia 23, France 9.